Welcome to the Wealth and Purpose podcast, where people who are led by their hearts come to learn the secrets to creating wealth in a way that feels really good and live their purpose fully in the process. I'm your host, Patty Lennon. I'm an ex-type A corporate banker turned intuitive business coach. I'm also a wife, a mom to 2 preteens, a professor, Girl Scout leader, and well, hey, you get it. Like you, I wear a lot of hats. Whether you're looking for inspiration to get started or strategies to get growing, I am here to help you create abundance in every area of your life and business. Welcome. Do you have the courage to get lost? That is the question I have been asking myself. It's a question that I've asked in other forums of my clients, and it's a question I'm putting on you today. And the reason that I'm exploring this idea right now is because a few reasons. First, we are in a very accelerated transition on the planet energetically. And you don't really have to be, quote unquote, into astrology or metaphysics or really any of these principles to identify that there is something going on. You know, probably your emotions have been a little bit different than what you're used to. Maybe they've accelerated and decreased and been positive and negative, and maybe unexpected things have happened, positive and, you know, what would be perceived negatively. There might be death that's going on for you, whether it's the death of a loved one or an idea or an identity. And with every death is a rebirth, and with every birth is a death. So both of those things, no matter whether it's that you're taking on a new job or you've sold a house or you're moving into a new house, all of that is happening at an accelerated pace because the planet is asking for something different from us. It's just the natural extension of expansion. And I specifically have been talking a lot with my people in my community and here about the concept of receiving. And the reason that this is so alive for me right now is because I think it is the true calling that we're being asked to make, not just to be able to receive from a physical sense, you know, the kind of love and support and money we've been giving to receive it back, because that's very important. And it actually is necessary to give us the grounded safety net that we need to do the receiving on an even higher level, which is to receive the wisdom and the guidance that we're getting both from within our higher selves, you know, and then from source or universe or God, whatever word you use, guiding each of us on our right paths. We're all being guided much more heavily or strongly or powerfully towards love. And if there's things they're not working towards love in your life, they are going to be destroyed, you know, in one way, shape, or another. And that doesn't mean if someone you love has crossed, you know, if they've gone through that death experience, that's somehow because they weren't loving you enough. I'm not talking about that because, you know, death of the human form isn't really destruction other than to destroy the actual human existence. But, you know, there is an instant rebirth on the other side of the veil. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where, you know, stable jobs become unstable and then disappear, or a source of income in your business suddenly dries up, or a person falls away or just becomes difficult to deal with. Those things are happening on purpose to guide you towards something better. And the thing is, our natural instinct as a human is to cling to what we know, is to just hold on tightly to what we can predict. You know, the devil you know is better than the one you don't. That's a phrase that I've heard all my life. And I know why, because my family was built on let's stick with what we know, right? The thing is, if you only limit yourself to what you know, you're going to miss out on so much more fabulousness and excitement and adventure and love. And so it's important for you to let go of what you know. But if you do, that requires that you have the courage to get lost. It doesn't mean you're going to stay lost. It doesn't mean you're going to be lost for more than a few moments. But when you let go of what you know, you do get lost. And when I was thinking about what to name this podcast, or what the kind of the concept was, that question was so front of mind. Do you have the courage to get lost? I looked up the definition of lost, and here, well, it wasn't really helpful. It just said, it was the adjective of lose. But when I looked up lose, it said to be deprived of or cease to have or retain something. And that thing that when we get lost, what we've been ceasing to retain is our sense of predictability of the future, our feeling that we know what will happen. And that's a sacrifice. And it does require some courage. But here is what I found. The more and more and more I lean into this courage, this willingness to get lost, the more interesting and exciting and big and full and fun my life and business has become. And I've seen it with my clients as well. It is the thing that creates the space for magic, because magic, we need to kind of get rid of the old definitions of magic and don't see it as like some potions or rituals, although all those things can help create magic. But when you really look at what is magic, like when you felt that something was magical, what made it magical? And as I've thought about that, it's when I know what's possible, right? So I have that. And then I have something that seems like beyond possibility, but it feels like something I desire so much. And so I have these two places, right? I have what I know is possible. Then I have this dream or this vision that doesn't seem possible. And there's a gap between where I am and where I'm going. And there's some steps I can take to help fill in the gap. But ultimately, there is this space in between where I am and what I know to do next, and where I can see myself getting to in some future moment. And once I've gotten to that place that seemed impossible for whatever reason, when I look back, that's what has felt magical. It was the force that fills in the gap between what we know is possible and what we most desire that feels impossible. And so in that gap is this force beyond our human self. It's beyond our human condition. And when you're inside that space of that force, whether you call it love or you call it universal love, or, Abraham Hicks has another term for it that they've changed the name of a few times, but they basically describe it as this centrifugal force that sort of brings you closer and closer to the center of your own existence. Whatever you want to call that gap that exists inside, and that force that fills it and bridges that gap. When you're inside of it, you're lost. You have no way of predicting how the next step is going to come and the one after that. Now, you do get that first step, that next step when you're inside that magical force. But that's all you get. You do not get shown the path to impossibility. You do not get shown the path to your big dreams. And for good reason. And I've talked about this before. If you were shown the journey you would take, I promise you, the version you are today would not agree to take that trip. But the universe, source, God, whatever word you want to use, knows that you become a new version of yourself with every new step. And so although you are lost in that space based on who you are today, meaning who you are today will feel lost inside that space, who you are becoming is perfectly safe and comfortable. And you have to have the courage to let go of what you know is certain, to find what is magical and possible, and to receive with total trust and love what the universe wants to offer you. And that's scary. That's scary to put 100% of your faith in something that you can't touch and feel and see, at least with your human senses. And so my question to you today is, do you have the courage to get lost? And I hope your answer is yes, because what you will find is if you can hang out inside the space of being lost for even a few moments, what you will find is that there is another part of yourself, that's your soul, that is never lost, that knows exactly where it is, knows it's perfectly safe, and knows exactly what to do next. And so I hope that you embrace that space, because I promise you, as we enter these last weeks of the decade, the universe is preparing you for something pretty magical in 2020. And no matter what you do, whether you hold on tightly to your existence or you completely embrace the lost feeling that comes with this magic, no matter what you do, you're going to arrive at your destination. The difference is if you can have the courage to get lost, as terrifying as those first steps might be, you are going to have a lot more fun getting there, a lot more fun, because you have so many guides and angels and loved ones who are going to make sure that you get to your final destination. But it's going to be a lot easier to see and feel and hear them if you let go of the firm foundation you're gripping too tightly. Because out there, without that firm foundation you're so used to touching, the predictability, the knowingness, the being able to control your destiny, out there is where the magic is. And that's where all the fun is. I have been experiencing this myself. I think I talked about it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I was preparing to do a workshop, and the workshop was designed as part of a promotional marketing campaign to launch my mastermind for January, the next group for the mastermind. And the workshop was going to be on a Tuesday, and on Thursday into Friday, my guides told me that would not be what I'd be offering to my community, that I would be offering the receiving school. I had not known the receiving school. I was not aware that I would be doing the receiving school. It had been an idea that had been playing in the back of my head, but I had just presumed it was for 2020. I hadn't really put any real concrete thoughts around it. And over the course of 2 days, I wrote out, the outline for the receiving school, and without a sales page, offered it at this workshop. And each step of the way, my guides have asked me to not push it, not do the traditional launch environment. They've asked for me to allow myself to channel content, to let them speak through me. And I've gone on Facebook Lives and I've done that. And the day that this drops, actually, I'll be offering a workshop at 11 a.m. Eastern called The Sacred Art of Receiving. And you can, if you want to join us for that, you can go to pattylennon.com/receiving to grab your spot. And then we'll leave the link for the replay up for a couple of days. And so everything I've been doing, I have not been, managing the way I'd normally manage promoting something. And it's been a very gentle experience. But I felt a little lost in it because I'm not always shown what the next step is. And it's been fascinating to watch because sales have been rolling in. In fact, as I'm recording this, I think we're going to possibly sell out today, which is before we even do the last workshop. And I think I'll just be opening up a second class so I can accommodate everyone coming in. And colleagues have been reaching out to me and saying, the next time that you run this, can I please be an affiliate? And how can I support you? And with all of this without the traditional launch experience. And I've been trusting, and I will tell you, it's scary. It is scary to trust that way, but it's also super fun. It is so fun to not have done the things that normally channel a sale, right? Like to put a post out or to do some Facebook Live where I announce it or anything. And just sales have been coming in almost every day, every other day. And I'm not sure even where people are finding the information to register other than maybe something I put out in a previous day or Facebook Live. And all of that, as scary as it is, though, has been so fun and such a good reminder that when we open up that receptive energy, all of the things we desire flow in. All of the things, I didn't even know I wanted affiliates for the next one, but it's already flowing in before I even had a chance to consider it. And the sales are flowing in and the guidance is flowing in. It's all flowing in. It's so fun. So, if you are feeling like you would like more magic and more fun and things to be easier, I'm telling you, embrace the courage to get lost, because what you will find in that space will be just amazing. So, please, if you want to join us for that workshop, I'd love to see you there, pattylennon.com/receiving. And if you want to go straight into registering for Receiving School, I'd love to have you there. You can go to www.thereceivingschool.com. Thanks. Hey, thanks for listening. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, please share this podcast with them. And if you're feeling really generous, I'd love for you to leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. It helps us reach many more people, and it fills my heart with so much joy when I hear what you had to say about what you heard. I am cheering for your success. Have an amazing day.